Palmer. Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on a Monday. Hope your week is off to a good start. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Excited to get into all of these things today. The next 2 hours, we got baseball, we got basketball, we got some football news that just broke from LSU. Plenty to get to, and it's just me. No guests today. Kind of knocked on a couple of doors on the baseball side, didn't get anywhere. So just me for the next 2 hours, talking a lot of baseball, a little bit of basketball as well. I'm very excited to do so. We're going to start with baseball because I'd rather do that, quite frankly. Charlie started with basketball. I don't feel like getting the show off on the wrong foot here. So we'll talk a little bit of baseball. Tigers go to Round Rock, playing some chilly conditions for a couple of days, but what looked like a gorgeous park. And they get 2 out of 3 and are named the winners of the Round Rock Classic. Got them a big belt, apparently. I'm not sure that'll make it into the trophy case with the 6 national championship trophies, but nonetheless, should be in tow when they head back to Baton Rouge coming up on Wednesday. I thought, in my opinion, well, no, I shouldn't say it. In my experience, the viewing was great. I know that some people had issues with the stream. D1 Baseball had it over there all 3 days, and I guess some people had some significant issues. I watched every pitch and didn't have any issues. The one thing that I didn't enjoy was the fact that Iowa's scoreboard graphic was really hard to read when it was yellow and white. When they switched it to black and white, I thought it was just fine. I had a really good viewing experience. I thought the play-by-play guys were great. The color analysts are obviously guys that we know and did a phenomenal job. I had no issue watching pitch to pitch. My internet had no problems with it. I enjoyed the viewing experience. I don't want to pay $30 every week to watch LSU play baseball, but for a one-time-a-year deal, this was just fine with me. If you had some issues, obviously people had different experiences, and that's kind of the way streaming goes, I feel. But I had no issue with it whatsoever. The Tigers, like I said, got 2 out of 3. And I know how fans are wired. So we'll start with Saturday, huh? That sound good with everybody? We previewed Saturday really all week because you knew that Brody Brecht was going to get the ball for Iowa. And he did. And it was, in my opinion, a really important day for LSU to see the best arm they were going to probably see in non-conference play. I don't know what's going to come from Texas tomorrow, but this is going to be the best guy that you see in the non-conference for sure. So what does your lineup do in this spot? Well, they got him out of the game in the 4th inning. And if you told me they were going to do that, I'd say, well, that's really impressive. And I had some mixed feelings. I'm going to give LSU a pass on leaving the bases loaded in the 1st inning. Why am I going to give him a pass for that? Well, the stuff that Brecht was throwing up there was electric. I mean, as good as anyone in college baseball. Seriously. 101-mile-an-hour fastball and a slider with that kind of tilt and that kind of depth is unbelievable. The one comp I got from someone who was at the ballpark looking at these 3 games this weekend, the comp I got on Brody Brecht was Steven Strasburg in college. Just from a pure stuff perspective. So LSU got the bases loaded with nobody out in the 1st inning. And by now you know that Jones struck out and Pearson struck out and White struck out. And I would prefer it if one of those guys would put a ball in play. Shorten up, get the ball in play somewhere. I would like that. The fact of the matter is it's really hard to do against a guy that throws 101 miles an hour with that slider. And he got ahead of him and he made great pitches. So that is a great pitcher making his pitches. If Aaron Nola would have taken the mound for LSU and gotten in that situation and wiggled off the hook with 3 strikeouts, you would have gone, man, that Nola, what a great pitcher. He's so good. But from the other side, when it's your guys, and especially high-profile guys, the way that Jones has swung the bat early, the way that White swung the bat last year, and his name recognition in the sport, you're looking at your guys going, well, that's terrible. Terrible. You can't lay off the pitch in the dirt? You guys, that's awful. I'm going to give the guys a pass on the first inning because that's a great pitcher making pitches. However, it became readily apparent to me watching the game that Brody Brecht could not throw a fastball for a strike. He couldn't do it. He leaned on his slider as heavily as I can remember a power pitcher leaning on it. He threw slider over 65% of the pitches in the game. And the fastballs he threw weren't strikes. So while I'm giving LSU a little bit of a pass in the first inning, there's chances in the second and third with runners in scoring position where every single swing at a slider looked fooled and out in front was a lack of adjustment to me. I checked, and LSU was aware that he was going to throw a lot of sliders. Sometimes early in the season, guys, he's playing a lot of football. Like I don't know how much information they had on Iowa's Saturday starter. But they did know he's going to throw a lot of sliders. And to me, this is a hard thing to do, to convince yourself to do it, because it goes contradictory to everything that you're taught as a hitter. I would have sat slider. I'm going to assume every pitch is a slider. If it starts up around the letters, I'm ready to hack. If it starts down towards the knees, I'm not swinging. If he throws 101 miles an hour at the knees, I'm not going to be able to get to it. But LSU did not do that at any point. They continued to let him throw slider after slider, and they either swung over the top of it, or, that's basically what they did, or they took strikes. And to me, I would have changed course starting in the second inning. When I looked at he could not throw his fastball for a strike. And LSU did not adjust to sit slider and attack the slider. They just didn't do it. And because of that, you were never able to square it up. Jay said after the game that they executed their plan of taking some pitches, of getting guys on base. It was just going to take the one swing here or there to plate the runs, and they could not square him up and make contact. And there's a reason that Brody Brecht has made 2 starts and has given up 1 infield hit. That's the only hit he's given up in 2 starts. He's not going to give up 4 hits in an inning very often. Now, he'll walk 3-4 guys in an inning, but I was disappointed in the approach in the second and third. I gave him a pass on the first. The other piece of game 2 is LSU's starting pitcher, and we'll get to that here. Riley Cooper went out there. His line is bad for Saturday. 3 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. The line is not good. Was the outing as bad as the line? I would suggest not. He gives up a leadoff home run to the opposite field. I don't want you to give up a home run, but it wasn't as if he hung an 0-2 slider right down the middle or grooved an up and in fastball. He threw it on the outer side of the plate, and a good hitter hit a home run off of him. Okay? Keep rolling. Well, you get a couple outs and you give up a couple of hits, and they bunt for a hit. And Cooper jumps off the mound and throws it to first base, and they call him out, and you're out of the inning. You've only given up 1 run. They go to review. He's safe. He was safe. I thought it was the right call. However, you've got a converted catcher, a freshman, Jared Jones, over there playing first base, who simply does not stretch. He didn't stretch. He stood on first base with his feet parallel to first base and waited for the ball to come in, and he caught it. If he puts his right foot on the bag and stretches toward Cooper, that 3 feet that his 6'6" frame gives him, he's out easily. All you got to do is stretch, and he didn't. Hadn't played a lot of first base. Lack of experience, didn't stretch. Called safe. That allows a run. And then you got a situation where Iowa tries a double steal. Brady Neal throws through to second base, and Gavin Dugas isn't on the base. I don't know if Brady missed a sign there and he wasn't supposed to throw through. I don't know if Gavin missed a sign and he wasn't on second base. I haven't heard. But one of them wasn't on the right page. So they threw down to an unoccupied base, and the guy came in and scored. That's not great. And then after Cooper's removed from the game, they bring Dutton in. They hit a line drive to right field, and it was a very tough play. The ball was crushed off Dutton, but Joe Bear's flat-footed, and starts backpedaling, and the ball goes over his head. Poor judgment there by Joe Barry in right field, and that added another run to Cooper's line. So Cooper wasn't good on Saturday. That's not the point. The point is he wasn't atrocious. Had a couple things break down, and Iowa put some swings on some balls and found holes. The issue that I have, and this is not like, again, this is not Les Miles saying the engine's pretty stinking good and we're not changing anything, everything's perfect. Jay literally said before the season started, we're not going to be the best team we can be unless Thatcher Hurd's in the weekend rotation. He literally said that. Not off the record, not as a source, unnamed. He said it in front of the cameras. And we'll see if Thatcher Hurd's out there tomorrow, maybe Monday of next week, which we'll talk about tomorrow, and then maybe in the weekend rotation before SEC play. What I've seen a lot of is Riley Cooper is not an SEC starting pitcher. Riley Cooper's not an ace. And Riley Cooper is not in a dominant 1-2 as a SEC starting pitcher. Riley Cooper is capable of going out there, starting an SEC game and getting you 12 or 15 outs and holding the opponent down. He's capable of that. But that's where you bump your head on the ceiling with Riley Cooper, and that's the problem. Because the ceiling is not right there at 12 or 15 outs and holding them down on a Saturday or Sunday. That's not where the ceiling is for Ty Floyd. That's not where the ceiling is for Christian Little. That's not where the ceiling is for Thatcher Hurd. That's not where the ceiling is for Chase Shores. The ceiling's lower, but Cooper's capable. I would just rather him be in the bullpen and the guys with a little more talent and stuff pitch as a weekend starter. I want my 1-2 to look like Kumar and Rock and Leiter. That's the best ever, but I want my 1-2 to look like Gosman and Nola. I want my 1-2 to look like Dylan DeLucia and Hunter Elliott did at the end of last year. I want my 2 to look like Sproat and Waldrop at Florida right now. And right now, LSU's isn't. Skenes is, but 2 is a notch below that. That doesn't mean he can't help you as a weekend starter, maybe on a Sunday. I would just prefer he be in the bullpen and ready to go at a moment's notice, maybe in 2 different games over a weekend. But again, we got a long way to go. Long way to go. Right now, you're just pushing some buttons. And Saturday, the buttons LSU pushed didn't go great. You look at the score, and it's 12-4, and that looks like LSU got blown out and embarrassed. Okay, you did. But in truth, Iowa went to their A relievers, Simpson and Christopherson, and LSU went to Dutton, Helmers, and Buckner. 12-4 is not the story from Saturday. Not laying off Breck sliders and what you're going to do at the 2 slot in the rotation are stories. A lot more to get to from the Round Rock Classic here on this Monday. Haven't gotten into half of it, really. There's some offensive things I want to talk about, some defensive things I want to talk about. I'd also like to talk about Trey Morgan out there in left field. Plenty to get to. As I look forward, I think it kind of checked off all the boxes. The one thing I missed from Saturday's game as I'm looking through, that game may take on a little bit of a different complexion. If that ground ball that Ben DePolt hits up the middle gets through, and now it's 7-3 with 2 on and Gavin Dugas at the plate in the middle innings. Instead, the shortstop from Iowa makes a sensational play up the middle, throws DePolt out, and LSU's out of that inning, and it's still 7-2. That was an incredible play, and that kind of puts everything into perspective. Iowa played much better than LSU. They made some great defensive plays. They got clutch hits with 2 outs. They made the first to third steal. They made the big pitches in the first inning when they had to, and LSU didn't, and that's why Iowa won the baseball game. Good thing is LSU bounced back on Sunday and finished things off the right way. So that's kind of my thoughts on Saturday's game. Still a lot to get to from the Round Rock Classic. We'll get to it next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
We get it done with strength,
commitment,
dedication,
grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are
the Tigers.
get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
ESPN Baton Rouge in high definition. Simply tune to 98.1 and select HD2.
Never buying a truck from anywhere else. Great to work with.
Shop BayouFord.com.
Cut through the static and listen to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge in high definition. Simply tune to 98.1 and select HD2.
On Tuesday's OTB, I really hope we're celebrating a Pelicans win. Plus, LSU, Texas. We get you ready for the battle in Austin. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Tigers get 2 out of 3 in Round Rock, win the Round Rock Classic over there because they beat the hell out of Sam Houston yesterday. Had to win by 11 runs. They got it done, so they get the big belt. That's headed back to Baton Rouge. The 2 stories that I wanted to focus on from Friday are 1, Paul Skenes and his outing, and 2, the injury to Trey Morgan playing left field. I'll give my thoughts on Trey Morgan here in a second, but Skenes is worth talking about here. Got into a little bit of trouble in the first inning. He went 2-0 to both guys who ended up getting hits, and those guys were able to put the bat on the ball and get it through the infield. And he gives up a run. But after the run, he's got second and third with 1 out, and he bows his neck. He gets the 2 strikeouts after that, and then he allows only 1 over the minimum over the next 5 innings. He was just mowing them down after Kansas State let him settle in the first. He finishes with 11 punch-outs of the 22 guys he faced. That's half the guys he faced he struck out. The fastball was upper 90s the whole day. Slider was excellent. He commanded it as well. I thought Skenes was excellent, and we were saying a lot of the same things about Blake Money last year at this time through 2 weeks. You're saying, look, I don't know. He's never been a Friday night guy, but this is what it would look like. Fastball's 93, 94, and he's throwing a slider when he wants to. He's striking guys out. You know, they're playing bad teams. I get it, but that's what it would look like. And then all of a sudden, the competition level spiked, and Money kind of lost his job there. This does feel different. I'll be really disappointed, but I'll eat the crow if I have to. This looks different. Skenes looks to be exceptional. He's very difficult to hit, and he's stretching out to 101 pitches. I thought he was great, and I thought it was the right move by Jay to get him out of the game after 6 innings and 101 pitches. I just don't need to send him back out there in late February and risk anything. Job well done. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 11 walks and 11 strikeouts, 2 walks. That's good stuff. And I thought Floyd did a good job in relief, even though he's still throwing a lot of fastballs. Now that plays in relief, and that's fine. But I'd like to see a little bit more of the breaking stuff, which I think is developed. We just haven't seen a ton of it, a lot of fastballs. Trey Morgan is the talking point that I got a lot of this weekend. And there were a significant amount of people after the injury happened when Trey Morgan ran into the wall. If you missed it, there was a ball smoked to left field. Morgan's out there and left. He runs full speed, never slows down, and runs right into the scoreboard section of the wall. It wasn't even the real padding, and goes down, and he was hurt. And he played the rest of the game, but he did come out on Saturday morning, tried to give it a go. In fact, I know this to be true. He was in the lineup Saturday. They had written his name on the card and then decided, we're not going to go today, and they put an air cast on it, and he had to come back on Sunday, but he was hurt. So why was he out there? He wasn't out there because they're trying to play him for his pro potential. He wasn't out there because they're trying to look at some other guys in the lineup. He was out there because Tommy White's hurt and can't play defense, but he can hit. So he's in. And they're not taking Jared Jones' bat out of the lineup, and the only position he can play is catcher or first. So they had to put him at first, and they put Morgan in the outfield. It was not some sort of, trying to fidget or figure out some different line. No, this was, if you were going to play White and Jones and Morgan in the lineup, which you want all 3 of their bats in there, this is the way that it had to be. I said that on Friday. I'll say that now. So what I heard was you really can't put one of your best players out there with such an injury risk of putting him out in the outfield. Okay, here's the deal. He was running full speed. He clearly did not respond to the warning track like a seasoned outfielder would know to do, and he made a mistake that resulted in him getting hurt. That happened. But I pushed back on a suggestion that this was some monumental injury risk that Jay Johnson was subjecting one of his best players to. Let me toss some names out here for you of guys who have been infielders and really good players and hitters that have gone to the outfield. Ryan Schimpf at LSU in 2009 was a second baseman for the 2008 team for some of the time, and in the 2009 was a second baseman some, and was moved to the outfield. He was one of their best hitters. He moved to the outfield. Jacoby Jones was a second baseman for LSU that moved out to center field. Mason Katz played first base for LSU, and in the Stony Brook series, he was out there running around in center field. Greg Dykman played first base at LSU. They moved him out to right field. This happens all the time. I think there's one more that I'm missing that moved out to the outfield, but in any event, it doesn't matter. This happens a good bit. I'm not here to suggest that moving an outfielder, an infielder from first base to left field is like having your quarterback return punts. Trey Morgan could tweak a knee playing first base, running over the bullpen mound, chasing a foul ball. He can run into the fence next to first base if he's playing first base, chasing a foul ball. He can get caught up in the baseline trying to catch a throw and get trucked by a base runner. There are injury risks out there. Trey Morgan is plenty athletic enough to grab a different glove and go play left field. So I don't think it's wrong to put Tommy White at DH, Jared Jones at first, and Trey in left field. I just don't. It was bad luck. It was bad luck that happened. Jared Foster's another one that went from the outfield into second base. But you get the point. I'm just not here for you're putting an injury risk out there. I mean, you can get hurt playing sports. The odds of him running full speed into the wall and getting hurt are not that good. You can't sit everybody. So I thought it was the right thing to do until White can heal up. I think you'll see him out there in left field again if White can't play third base. More from Round Rock. I think the defense has been pretty good. Jordan Thompson has played good defensively at shortstop. Gavin Dugas has made some really nice plays. He made a nice backhand play yesterday. He made a diving play going to his left on Friday. He's done a nice job on defense. I realize that your defense broke down on the double steal on Saturday. I realize that Joe Bear may have theoretically misplayed a ball in right field, but really your only two errors to this point statistically are Riley Cooper missing a throw to first base and Gavin Guidry late in the game on Friday coming in and makes an error. But I liked the way the defense is playing. I thought one of my favorite swings of this weekend was in the game on Friday, 7th inning. You've got a lead, but you're trying to add on. You've got a couple guys on, nobody out. Gavin Dugas falls behind 0-2, gets a pitch on the outer half, and serves it into right field for a single. I thought that was great. We think of Gavin as a home run guy, a power guy, an RBI guy. To put that swing on that baseball, I thought showed the mature approach that he's got, the experience that he's got. He's not trying to, got 2 on, got to pump one over the seats. Just took what was there and rode it into right field for a hit. Then you got Cruz coming up with a big hit, and you got a 2-run double by Jones. There were some louder hits in that inning than just Dugas, but I thought that swing was one of my favorites of the entire weekend. And last thing, this probably went unnoticed by a lot of people. It wasn't a big deal as far as the weekend goes in terms of the score, but I liked what I saw from Griffin Herring. Now, I don't know what the radar gun was showing. If you look at Perfect Games, little tweet they put up, said he was 92, 93. There's some good depth and break on that slider. I like Griffin Herring, and I hope that he gets more chances to go out there and pitch a little bit because I think that he's got a bright future. The staff really believes he's going to be a starter one day. Jay said that last week in a press conference, so I thought that was very, very good. On the flip side of pitchers, Bryce Collins now has gone out there a couple of times and just not had the command. He walked 4 guys last night, and that's just not – you can't do that. 4 walks in the 8 guys he faced, no. I know you can throw 95. That breaking ball is one of the best on the team, if not the best on the team. And my sincere thought is that he's going to be a high-leverage reliever on this team. You got to throw strikes. And Jay was a little perturbed, it looked like, when he went out there and got him out of the game because you just can't walk 4 guys. But he'll get better. I expect to see him in some big spots here moving forward. So that's it for baseball right now. I'll give you a little 2 segments there. LSU beats Kansas State on Friday, loses to Iowa on Saturday, and beats Sam Houston by 100 on Sunday. It's not it. Last thing. This could be a weekly segment, quite frankly. Not going to make it a weekly segment, but it could be one. Dylan Cruz is obscene. I've been following this baseball program basically game to game for 17 years. And I have never seen anything like this. Over the weekend, he went to the dish 15 times. He got on base 11. He was 9 of 13 with 2 walks. The 2 walks were off Brecht, who did not get him out. He hit lasers off everybody else. He scored 6 times. He drove in 7. Jay Johnson said last night in the press conference he's the best player I've ever coached. he is absolutely ridiculous at the college level. Hitting's supposed to look really hard. It looks really easy when he does it. And I enjoy it every time he comes up. That's one of those deals where even in games where LSU gets up, like they did on Sunday, I still want to watch for when Cruz comes up. That was the last thing in my notebook. He is something else. So Tigers tomorrow in Austin, 6:30 first pitch against the Longhorns. Already got a guest set up from Austin to come on and talk about this Texas team that's scuffling a little bit out of the blocks, but a big opportunity for Thatcher Hurd, we believe, and this LSU team to get a road win in the non-conference against a Power 5 team. That's not something LSU gets a chance to do all that often, so we'll be locked into it, getting you ready for it tomorrow. Unfortunately, now we do have to change gears a bit, talk about basketball on Saturday. I saw something on Saturday that really grinded my gears. We'll get to that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
What a good day to finally be out of the office. Is that this? A Skag mower. Okay, living the good life I see. Not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous. It's just like driving a throne. It's gorgeous. A beautiful piece of machinery right there.
The moment you know you want a Skag. Skag. Simply the best.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Charles Hannigrove. Join us for the Tuesday edition of Hanny Time. We'll go to Austin, Texas, get a preview on the Tigers and the Longhorns. Plus, Dwayne Colucci joins us from Las Vegas. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So I think a lot of y'all can probably relate to this. In my younger days, my entire Saturday would have been locking into LSU baseball at noon for 3.5 hours, and then locking into LSU basketball at 7:30 for another 2 hours, and that would have been the lion's share of my Saturday. Doesn't make me the most interesting person or the most socially cultured person in the world. But that would have been my Saturday in a younger life. However, this weekend was my second wedding anniversary, so we had anniversary plans on Saturday night. So I did watch every pitch of LSU and Iowa on Saturday, but we went to dinner on Saturday. So I did not watch the majority of LSU and Ole Miss on Saturday. That is as candid as I can be. Did I go back and watch the highlights? I did not. Did I DVR it or record it and go back and watch it? I did not. Did I get home in time to see the last 3.5 minutes? I did. So this segment about LSU basketball on Saturday is admittedly not perfectly researched and not based on watching the entire game. I watched 3.5 minutes of the game and looked at the stat sheet. So I'll give you my thoughts based on that vantage point. When I walked in and turned on the TV, and LSU was down 9 points. Let me check my math here. Yep, with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the game, and was not in a full court press, I was not in a very good mood. 9 points down, 2.5 minutes to go, back in a half court man. Just letting Ole Miss walk it up, play defense. What? We're doing what? Where's the energy? Where's the effort? Where's the heart, the life? I that's unacceptable to me. Down 9 with 2.5 minutes to go? I need a full court trap. I need to be fouling. I need to be taking chances. Just backing a half court man. I did not like that at all. Did not like it at all. And then, that's all the game that I watched. The stat sheet looks brutal. To allow that Ole Miss team to shoot 55% from the floor and 43% from three, give up 82 points. I've watched Ole Miss this year. There's a reason Kermit's no longer there. They're bad. They should not score 82 points. I didn't watch what defense LSU played. I didn't watch what substitutions they made. I didn't watch how the game was being called. I don't know if Ole Miss threw in these shots over their head, around their back, blindfolded from half court half the time. I have no idea. My guess is they just ran their offense, got open shots, and made them. And that's disappointing. I'm thrilled for LSU that they got that win last week against Vanderbilt. They deserve that. They deserve to get that done. I can take that and reasonably come over to this on Saturday and say, this is disappointing. You should not lose to that team by 13 points. Just shouldn't. Stat sheet tells me KJ was great again. On Friday, I said he should shoot the ball 25 times. He shot at 18. Plus, he got 8 free throws. He scored 29 points, grabbed 5 rebounds, only had 1 turnover. The supporting cast, not great. I do like that Tyrell Ward made a couple more threes, 2 of 4. He shot the ball pretty well. But the stat sheet doesn't look great outside of that. I'm still a little hot under the collar that I turned the TV on and saw we're down 9 and nobody's going nuts on defense. This is panic time. What do you have to lose? Maybe that's the problem. Since there's nothing, well, we'll get them on Saturday. I did not enjoy it. That's a disappointing loss to a bad Ole Miss team, quite frankly. And to not have a chance in the last 3 minutes against Ole Miss is a bummer. In the big picture of everything, it doesn't really matter. That game, win or lose, doesn't really matter. But that's a disappointment. So you got 2 more to go. Got a Wednesday game here against Missouri. And then you go to Gainesville to cap things off, and then you head to the SEC tournament. But you had a chance, in my view. You got a win that we probably didn't think you were going to get against Vanderbilt. You could definitely beat the team that just canned their coach 24 hours ago. And then all of a sudden, you're like, man, we could come home. We'll see what we can do against Missouri. It's a home game. All of a sudden, you could have won 3 in a row. I'm a little more hesitant to talk about going to Florida and winning. But if we're trying to grasp at any positive straws, and I've been on record, I'm giving a pass for this year. The pass is a 1-year pass. It does not extend into this next recruiting cycle. It does not extend to next year. I'm giving a pass for the results of this year. But if we're trying to grasp at a positive, you got a chance to win your second game in a row, and then you come home, play Missouri. I would pick against you in that game, but you can win a home game against Missouri if they shoot the ball really poorly, which they have. Then you go get dusted, and it just feels like any of that possibility is kind of swept away. But they'll go out there and see what they can do coming up on Wednesday. I've still got a lot to get to here over the next hour and change. SEC Hoop scoreboard, a lot of SEC baseball to get to, some really juicy storylines in SEC baseball. And I like getting to those on this show because I don't think it's something that you get from every show on the show. We all kind of have our lane. Morning show guys do their thing. Hanny's got his deal. Of course, Matt and Jimmy, they've got their angles. And I think one of the things that I'm going to go a little bit deeper on than most is going to be some SEC baseball storylines. And I've got some really good ones coming up from the weekend that we'll get to. Plus, a defection from the LSU football program. Sevyn Banks is not transferring. He is entering the NFL draft. So we'll talk about that in the second hour as well. When we come back, a minor league spring training game ended on a pitch clock. LSU had a game this weekend end on a pitch clock violation. I'm changing my tune on the pitch clock for a very specific reason. I'll get to that coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team been in this business for 3 decades, redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If you're not happy with the way your bathroom looks, just a little bit dated, and maybe it's not the way it functions, you just don't like some aspect of the bathroom, let David Duvall and his team come in. If it's a full-scale renovation or remodel of that bathroom, they can do it. They're a licensed contractor. They're one company, one contractor. You make one call to One Bath and Closets, and they work it all the way through. Maybe it's just a simple tub-to-shower conversion, something like that changes the functionality and the look of your bathroom, but doesn't involve a long project or an overly expensive project. Just take that bathtub out and put in a gorgeous walk-in glass shower. One Bath and Closets can do it for you. They can also help you if your closet is cluttered, got too much stuff, you don't have enough space. Maybe you do have enough space, and they can just help you use it more efficiently. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. Check the testimonials out. David Duvall and his team are first class. And if you tell them that the Hunt Palmer Show sent you over there, they will not charge you for the rip out of your current closet or the installation costs that go with a new one. They will only charge you for the cost of that unit. Onebathandclosets.com is the website, onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
What the? Is that a skag? You've got to be kidding me. Look at those stripes. Oh, and that comfy seat. It's like he's riding on a cloud. We get it, Gary. Your stripes look perfect.
The moment you know you want a skag. Skag. Simply the best.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR.
Musso, join us for Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. Matt is back from vacation. He's recapping LSU's weekend in Round Rock. We'll preview Pell's Magic. Monday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So if you were paying attention to LSU baseball on Friday, you know that the last pitch of the game wasn't really a pitch. Ty Floyd towed the rubber and kid stepped out of the box. Strike 3, game's over. Come on out of the dugout, LSU, shake hands, high five, play the fight song, Round Rock Classic, ball game's over. Happened also in a more high leverage spot than in a spring training game, Major League Baseball. Bases loaded, 2 out, tight game, violation on the hitter, strike 3, game's over. And it's happened a good bit. We saw it a lot over in Arlington at Globe Life in opening weekend. Arkansas and TCU had it happen. It's making the news. And I told you my thoughts on it last week, that I just don't like it. And the reason is because I'm not bothered by the length of a baseball game. I'm in the minority on that. Most are. When I'm watching baseball, I'm not trying to get to dinner or trying to get to work out or trying to get away so I can go do something else. I'm enjoying the baseball. So I don't need the pitch clock. The pitch clock's benefits, which, by the way, are real. College baseball is down 20 minutes. Spring training games are down 20 minutes. Say whatever you want about the pitch clock. What you cannot say is that it's not shortening games. I just don't need games shortened. 3 hour and 40-minute baseball game, fine with me. I don't care. Most people do. And that's what I'm having to come to grips with to realize this is the reality of baseball now. It's my favorite sport in the world. And I have to see it from the other side and say, yeah, Hunt, it's fine that you don't care about a 4-hour baseball game. Everyone else does. And when I see it from that perspective, I go, okay, let's just get this burned into these players' brains. They need to understand how things have to operate. There's a shot clock in basketball. There's a play clock in football. Golfers, they take too long. You get put on the clock. You take too long again, penalty shot. This happens in sports. It's going to look uncomfortable right now. I think the players are going to figure it out. I don't think it's going to happen too often in huge spots. Now, I'm perfectly willing to reassess this. If we've got conference games, regional games, games in Omaha that get materially changed because a batter or a pitcher was a second or two late, I may change my tune. But again, if these players start to get this clock in their head and play a little bit more quickly, I'll get used to it. Dave Van Horn said last weekend it's ruining the game because we can't change our bunt coverages. And, you know, we're trying to do this and that between pitches, and it's not allowing us to do it. I don't like that. My gut tells me they'll probably find a way to adapt. So I don't like the pitch clock. I don't need it. But I've taken some time, I've given it some thought, and I'm going, okay, this is coming because the vast majority of people like the game to be over in 2 hours and 28 minutes. That's what they want. So I'm going to have to conform to it. If it becomes an issue, I'll get louder. Right now, I'm changing my tune a little bit, going, okay, I'm just going to have to deal with this. It's not going to negatively affect my viewing of the game. From a viewership perspective, it's fine. It's when it materially impacts the competition that I'll have beef with. And it might happen a couple times here and there. Maybe by end of March, everybody's got it. Pitchers have been out there 8 or 10 times, 4 or 5 times maybe for starters. The batters have been out there for 25 games. Everybody's got it. It flows. People that saw minor league baseball last year said that's what happened. We'll see. We're not there yet. I heard someone on ESPN National, it's Jesse Rogers, who I follow for the Cubs, but he was on Greeny's show earlier, and he said, look, the Super Bowl got decided on a holding call. It was a defensive holding call. That was it. It was a violation. Did something you're not allowed to do, got the penalty for it, you lost the game. Okay? That's the way we're moving here. So I'll get on board. Just don't let it cost the Tigers a win, or else you'll see me in here breaking stuff one day. But I'll get on board. If we want to go back to the 4-hour game, I'll be just fine. Keep the beer stand open. Weather's good. I'm just fine. But that's the way it's going to go. So should we make the Citizens Bank and Trust poll question something about the pitch clock? We'll do that at the end of the segment. We'll figure out how to word it, and we'll put it up. I'll tell you what it is. And then we'll read your thoughts on the pitch clock coming up at the end of the show. Hour 1 in the books. Spent the first 30 minutes talking LSU baseball from over the weekend. Then we got into some LSU basketball against Ole Miss, and I gave my thoughts on the pitch clock. If you missed any of it, you can always catch our stuff on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Of course, on YouTube, those of y'all hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat. All our stuff's archived there each and every day. Just go search The Hunt Palmer Show. We always appreciate it if you like the show. Subscribe to the show, rate, review. That all helps us tremendously if you would be kind enough to do so. Second hour is coming at you here on this Monday. Going to get you some thoughts on SEC basketball over the weekend, some really big results in basketball, and I've got some good nuggets on SEC baseball. We just had some breaking news in SEC baseball as well that we'll get to in hour number 2. Plus, Sevyn Banks, LSU cornerback, has decided his college football playing days are behind him. He's going to take a test at the NFL. I'll give you my thoughts on LSU's cornerback room as we get closer to spring football. Plus, take it or leave it at the end of the show. Looking very much forward to that. Come back with us right after Sports Center. Hour number 2 of a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show coming at you on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've got that blue sky, I've got that sunshine.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
It's the details that make the difference between good enough and simply the best. At Skag Power Equipment, the difference is in designing lawnmowers with your convenience and comfort in mind. At Skag, we believe that quality and substance matter, and that you'll appreciate the attention to detail and craftsmanship we put into every single product. Thick steel and heavy-duty components provide you with unmatched reliability and performance. Skag, simply the best.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Might there be a blockbuster trade before this year's NFL draft? The Bears are leaning toward trading the number 1 overall pick, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Chicago has been approached by multiple teams in a year where anywhere from 8 to 12 franchises could be looking to make a switch at QB. Last month, GM Ryan Poles reaffirmed his commitment to quarterback Justin Fields. Trading Fields was never really in the cards for Chicago, believes our Keyshawn Johnson.
Chicago needs people around him. They need to build just like the Eagles did for Jalen Hurts. He's a little bit bigger than Jalen Hurts, but same sort of skill set, same sort of locker room leadership. All of those sort of things is watching this and paying attention to it. There was no way in the world that they was getting ready to move on from Justin Fields.
Key of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Bucks co-owner Mark Lassery reaching an agreement to sell his portion of the franchise to Browns owners Jimmy and Dee Haslam, according to ESPN's Tim Bontemps. The $3.5 billion valuation, the second highest valuation ever for an NBA team.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time your car breaks down, don't call it quits. Head to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
SEC baseball talk coming at you here 15 minutes from right now. On Palmer Show here on a Monday. Hope your work week's off to a really good start. SEC hoops over the weekend. A lot of games, a lot of impactful games. As now it's crunch time for those that are flirting with the bubble. Arkansas is not flirting with the bubble. Well, flirting maybe with the bubble. They're probably going to be an NCAA tournament team. They had a chance for a big statement win in Tuscaloosa on Saturday, and they came out and played awesome. They had a 9-point lead at the half, really stifling Alabama with their defense, their length. They rebounded great. And Bama's just got another gear. They've got a gear that very few teams in the country have. And they put it into overdrive in the second half and just waylaid Arkansas. They scored 58 points in the second half. They held Arkansas scoreless for a 4-minute stretch there that really helped them to build a lead. Then Arkansas chipped back into it. Kept coming. But Alabama had enough and didn't let them get that last shot off to tie. Bama wins 86-83. But Nick Smith's watch continues, and he and Brandon Miller, two of the best freshmen in college basketball. Smith goes for 24 points and 6 rebounds in the game, and I really think this has been a talking point for me for the last week. I think if you're examining Arkansas and you look at their resume, I would bump them just a notch because they missed Nick Smith for so long, and he's providing what they need. So they went to one of the top 2 teams in the country and played them right to the whistle, right to the buzzer. Just didn't have enough. Bama wins. They're 15-1 in league play. Tennessee just embarrassed South Carolina. Zakai Ziegler, double-double, 13 points, 11 assists. Tennessee had enough points after about 23 minutes of basketball to win this one. They walk away from South Carolina 85-45. The final, they win the game by 40 points in the Tommy Bowl. South Carolina falls to 3-13 on the year. Biggest game in terms of impact for NCAA tournament on Saturday, I think, was Texas A&M and Mississippi State in Starkville. And I thought A&M would do what they've been doing for 2 months, and they would show up, and they would make winning plays down the stretch, and they would get it done. And Mississippi State is the team that did it. They slowed A&M down. They used that incredible defense that they've played all year, and they got a 7-point win over A&M. This, as an LSU fan, we understand right now that we're a long way from being a relevant college basketball team and getting into the NCAA tournament. But I will tell you that the bar to get into the NCAA tournament ain't all that high because Mississippi State is right there. And let me tell you what they've done this year. In the non-conference, they beat Marquette, Utah, and Minnesota, none of whom are great basketball teams. They got some name recognition, but they're not great. They did get a nice win over TCU. They got into the Big 12 Challenge. TCU came to Starkville, and they got a nice win over TCU. They lost to Drake, but really the non-conference was not anything to, to freak out over. Then they came into the conference, and here are their conference wins this year. They beat Ole Miss in Starkville. You want to throw a party for that? I don't think so. They went to South Carolina and won. Yeah, the team I just told you that lost by 40 to Tennessee over the weekend. At home, they beat Missouri, who fired their coach last year. Is a nice team this year, but winning against them at home is no parades. They beat LSU in Starkville. Okay, Tigers, not very good. Last place. They went to Arkansas and won. Okay, that's a nice win. Arkansas was not playing very good basketball at that point. They didn't have Nick Smith. They didn't have Trayvon Brazile, but nice win at Arkansas. They went to Ole Miss and won. So whoop-de-doo. And then they beat A&M at home, which is a nice win. But it's not like they're going on the road and knocking off powerhouses. They didn't schedule Virginia and Kansas in the non-conference. And then against the good teams in the SEC, Alabama and Tennessee, they're 0-3 against those two. They lost to Kentucky at home, lost at Missouri, lost to Florida in Starkville. They haven't done anything super impressive, and they're right there on the precipice of getting in the tournament. So as an SEC LSU fan, I'm like, all right, this is doable. Beat the terrible teams. 2-0 against Ole Miss. Beat LSU. Beat South Carolina. Make sure you do that. Throw in a couple of home wins, Missouri, A&M. And then, nice one win away at Arkansas. Bama, crushed you. Tennessee, can't beat them. Went to Bama, didn't win. Lost to Florida, lost to Kentucky. That's tournament team. Went to Missouri, lost. Like they haven't really done anything. And they're right there in the mix of the tournament. They're 19-10, 7-9 in SEC play. Now, what helps them is that they've got an easy finish to the schedule now. They got South Carolina at home coming up tomorrow, and then they're at Vanderbilt. They get those two done, they're tournament team. Missouri, fighting to get in the tournament. They go to Georgia, get a road win by 22 points. We'll see them on Wednesday. Demoy Hodge, 18 points in that game. Good defense. And as we know Missouri can do, they scored a lot of points, 85. Made 14 threes, shot 50%. That's what it's going to take for Missouri to be a good basketball team. They were on Saturday, won a game by 22. Auburn is not in a good spot. They go to Rupp and get blasted 86-54. That is a 32-point win for Kentucky. And you look at what Auburn is right now, and it is oil leaking everywhere. They have lost 7 of their last 10. The wins are Ole Miss, Missouri, and Georgia, all in Auburn. Their last few road games at Kentucky lost by 32. At Vandy, lost. At A&M, lost. At Tennessee, scored 43 points and lost. At West Virginia, lost. So Bruce Pearl's team right now is in a bad spot. I don't know how the committee is going to view this. It's going to probably depend on how they finish. They're 9-7. They're a tournament team right now, but this could go to 9-9 in a hurry. They're in Tuscaloosa coming up on Wednesday, and then they finish out against Tennessee at home. So that's not super encouraging for the Plainsmen. Vandy rebounds from a brutal loss to LSU by beating Florida, but I still think too little, too late for them. They're 16-13 with some heinous losses. Can't lose to LSU. Can't lose to Grambling. They got work to do. They're going to have to win the SEC tournament, in my opinion. So that's your look around the Southeastern Conference at what we saw over the weekend. I think the big winner of the weekend was Mississippi State, and I think the toughest pill to swallow for the weekend is Arkansas scrapping all the way back in that game in Tuscaloosa and not being able to get it done. This February, 104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust are here to offer you a holiday rebate to the tune of $2,000 in cash. We'll also be selecting a local prize winner to receive $1,000 in cash. You can still sign up at 1045ESPN.com, but you only have one more day to do so make sure you go ahead and do it. Our Citizens Bank poll question of the day, which we'll get the results to the end of the show. How do you feel about the pitch clock? Hate it, love it, or I'll get used to it, I think is the other one that we use. And that's kind of where I am on it. I'll get used to it. I'll talk about it at the end of hour number 1. SEC baseball, speaking of pitch clock, a lot of storylines over the weekend. I watched a lot of SEC baseball over the weekend. Some breaking news in the SEC regarding the Tennessee Volunteers just came across the wire, so we'll get you caught up on all that coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. Just a couple more days here in February to tell you about Simone Malaz, our champion of Louisiana for the month of February. She's the executive director of Restore or Retreat. She's dedicated her career to protecting Louisiana's coast. Louisiana's critically important working coast houses 2.5 million people and supports infrastructure like highways, ports, and pipelines that fuel the country's economy. That's why Simone has dedicated her career to ensuring that our coast is taken care of. That's why she's a champion of Louisiana. If you know someone like Miss Simone that's doing awesome work for our great state, if you know a nonprofit or a business that's doing great things in Louisiana, we want to tell their story. LWCC is giving us the platform to do it. We want to take advantage. Go to lwcc.com/champions. Again, the website's lwcc.com/champions, and nominate some nonprofit to be a champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story. Simone Malaz, February's champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. the nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents.
Join me, Jimmy Ott and Charles Henniger for the Monday edition of Game Time. We're live at Just Winging It, eating some boiled crawfish. Boiled crawfish season at Just Winging It. Mondays, Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, so perusing the SEC baseball, I watched a lot of SEC baseball over the weekend. I'm really enjoying it. I think it helps when you feel like LSU is going to be right in the middle of this thing all the way through. Maybe tougher when you look at LSU basketball in mid-November, early December, and you're trying to like grind, Ole Miss, Stephen F. Austin in early December, and you're like, man, do I need to invest this time here? I don't have any problem watching Texas A&M and Portland over the weekend, which I did all three games. I didn't watch all three games, not even close, really, but I watched multiple innings of all three games, kind of getting a feel for different lineup pieces, different pitching pieces. I watched some of from Ole Miss, Maryland as well. Watched some of Vanderbilt, UCLA. So I really enjoyed watching SEC baseball, and I'm going to try to do my best to kind of keep you all abreast on interesting things. We're not going to go into individual pitches and what reliever arsenal guys have, but I think the high points and things that I don't think are as accessible to the common fan, I'm going to try to dive into a little bit more closely to kind of keep you all abreast of what's going on in the Southeastern Conference as we move forward. Ole Miss and Maryland played over the weekend. It was a top 15 matchup in Oxford, and Ole Miss took 2 out of 3. The interesting thing in this game, we talked to Joe Healy about it last Thursday, and I talked about it in my series preview on Friday. With Hunter Elliott out for Ole Miss, and still no report on what the MRIs are saying, but he's supposed to be their Friday night guy, great left-hander who was brilliant for them last year down the stretch. So Jack Doherty took his place in the rotation. I'm not going to tell you much about Jack Doherty other than the fact that he was Ole Miss's best reliever. If I'm going to pull it back to LSU, it's kind of like if maybe Anthony Renato would have gone down in 2010 and you went to Matty Ott as your Friday night guy. He was a closer, a reliever. You bring him in and try to start him. And he was capable as a starter, but it puts a huge hole in the bullpen when you do that. You're plugging one hole and creating a new one, basically. And that's what happened on Friday. Doherty was okay on Friday. Then he came out of the game in the middle innings, and the bullpen just imploded, and Maryland started hitting balls out of the yard. 9-2 was the final on Friday night. Maryland wins the game. Now, Ole Miss kind of got back into its groove over the next 2 and won the games with their offense. They won on Saturday 12-6 and on Sunday 18-8 in 7 innings. I know Ole Miss can hit, and what I said on Friday was it's going to have to be Kemp Alderman and Peyton Chatagnier and Jacob Gonzalez, and the offense for Ole Miss is going to have to carry him because the pitching right now is short. They're just short pitching, and that's what you saw. Maryland scored 9 on Friday. They scored 6 on Saturday. They scored 8 on Sunday, but Ole Miss out-hit them. So that's what the Rebs are right now, and they get 2 out of 3 against Maryland, which is a nice series win for them, incidentally. And this series got a little chippy. A lot of back and forth. JT McCants hit a home run for Ole Miss on Sunday. Watched it for a very long time. They got into it a little bit verbally. And because there was a scheduling snafu that Ole Miss was looking to scramble to fill this weekend and filled it with Maryland, they're playing in the same tournament next week. And they're playing on Friday. So teams that were chippy with each other all weekend are playing again on Friday, which is just incidentally kind of funny. A&M needed 3 in the 9th on Sunday to walk off Portland and avoid a sweep. Portland beat them on Friday and on Saturday and was leading by 2 going to the 9th on Sunday, and A&M got it done. A&M was 2 for 26 with runners in scoring position over the weekend before the 9th inning on Sunday. One note on A&M, look, they lost 2 out of 3. They lost to Lamar in the midweek. None of that matters. They're trying to figure some things out. I'm not as high on this A&M team as a lot of people are because I think what they did at the end of last year, really most of last year, was the whole was summer of the great of the parts. I don't see the great lineup. I don't see the top shelf aces. Not with this A&M team, but they'll be okay. Losing 2 out of 3 to Portland, no big deal. Jace Laviolette is the freshman for them. He's left-handed. He crushes the ball. I've seen him absolutely smoke the ball a couple of times over the last 2 weeks. He's a really good hitter for them. Great weekend for Vanderbilt. They take 2 out of 3 from UCLA. They won 6-0 on Friday and then lost 3-0 on Saturday. Came back in the rubber game against UCLA and beat them 2-1. My biggest takeaway from watching a little bit of this on Friday, Carter Holton, Vanderbilt's ace, is awesome. Left-handed, 94-95, bendy breaking ball. I think it's a curveball, but it's got some definite break to it. He threw 5 2/3, 1 hit, no runs, 7 strikeouts. He was great. LSU's not playing Vanderbilt this year in the regular season, so not going to be a big issue for the Tigers. But I thought he looked very, very good. Nice job by Vanderbilt taking 2 out of 3 from UCLA. Mississippi State beat Arizona State 2 out of 3. They had to come back on Saturday and Sunday and win, but they lost on Friday. Their pitching and defense right now is not good enough. They have given up double-digit runs 3 different times through 2 weeks. And they're just not pitching and playing defense at a level that's going to be good enough. Cade Smith went out there as their Friday night guy this week. He walked 6 in 3 innings. They got some work to do with the staff and the defense. They can hit, and they did hit over this weekend, but 16-3 on Sunday. But they gotta do a better job pitching because right now they're not doing a good enough job. Auburn had a kind of an interesting end to an interesting series. If you missed this last week, Auburn was supposed to go to play USC, the Trojans, out in California, and the weather looked awful. So on Monday they made the pivot, and USC came to Auburn for the weekend. So surprise road trip for the Trojans. Auburn beat them on Friday, beat them on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the game ended in a 12-12 tie. And that wasn't even the wildest part. USC scored in the top of the 9th. Looked like it would be the winning run. And my dude missed the plate. So he was in the dugout, and they called him out. That would have been the winning run. Didn't count. Auburn didn't score in the bottom half. 12-12 is the final. So 2-0-1 on the weekend for the Auburn Tigers against Southern Cal. This just in. Florida is excellent. This team looks really good. They did lose in the midweek last week to South Florida. Gave up 1 million runs in the late innings to blow a huge lead, but they look good to me. They hit 8 home runs on Sunday. Jack Caglione is a name you will be very familiar with by the end of May. This guy is maybe the biggest talent in the SEC, not named Dylan Cruz. He hit 3 home runs on Sunday, and he was Florida's starting pitcher. He throws almost 100 from the left side. Struck out 6 in 4 2/3 while hitting 3 home runs. He's awesome. And LSU doesn't play Florida this year. So not going to have to deal with the 1, 2, 3 of Sproat, Waldrop, and Caglione. But he's awesome. You go on YouTube and look at some highlights from Jack Caglione. He's hitting these exit velos are like 110. He's just crushing balls and throws nearly 100. He is quite good. So you'll know him very, very well. The other team that I'm still very, very impressed by is Tennessee. I mentioned there was some breaking news in the SEC. Tony Vitello was suspended over this weekend, if you were unaware of that. They've got an issue going on with Maui Ahuna, who was the starting shortstop for Kansas last year. He hit 400, one of the top players in the country, went to the transfer portal. LSU was very much interested. Arkansas was very much interested. He ended up at Tennessee. Now, there was a thought that there may have been some tampering involved here with Maui Ahuna. So the NCAA did not allow him to play in the opening week. Tennessee, I guess, did some digging or whatever, and then released a statement saying there were violations and that Tony Vitello will be suspended for the weekend. The breaking news is that Maui Ahuna has been cleared to play, and Tony Vitello has been reinstated as the head coach. So take it for what it's worth. Tennessee is going to be the baseball equivalent to what LSU was under Will Wade as long as Tony Vitello is calling the shot. He's abrasive. He's brash. He's a personality. People don't like him, and they're good. And that last part still applies. They're very good. They swept Dayton. I don't know anything about Dayton. I don't care about Dayton. I went to a high school where we were the Flyers. Dayton's the Flyers. That's where my relationship with Dayton stops. But Tennessee's starting pitching, which I saw a little bit over the weekend, is just so freaking good. Dollander, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, 12 strikeouts, and 5 2/3. He retired 17 guys, and 12 of them struck out. He had 1 walk. Chase Burns takes the ball on Saturday, 6 1/3 innings, so he works into the 7th, gives up a run on 2 hits, 3 walks, 12 strikeouts. And then Drew Beam on Sunday, not the power stuff maybe that those guys have in terms of the strikeouts, but 5 1/3, just 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. So for the weekend, that 1, 2, 3 of potential first-round picks when their time comes, 17 1/3 innings pitched, 3 earned runs on 8 hits, 28 strikeouts, and 7 walks. This is why I think Tennessee is going to be so good once again. They don't have the offense they had last year, specifically the power. But with Ahuna coming back, he's going to add a little flavor there, and they're going to hit a little bit. They're not going to hit like they did last year. That was epic. But they're going to pitch like they did last year, which is frightening. And they were very, very good over the weekend. So to me, I think right now LSU, Florida, and Tennessee are the best 3 teams in the league. We'll hear from A&M. We'll hear from Arkansas. We'll see what Vanderbilt is. It's a good league once again. No surprise. To me, I haven't seen everybody for extended innings, but to me, LSU, Florida, and Tennessee. LSU will not play Florida this year unless they see each other in Hoover or the SEC NCAA tournament. But I think those teams are very, very good. Speaking of Arkansas, won the first 2 against Eastern Illinois. Isn't that the Fighting Sean Payton's Eastern Illinois? I think it might be. But they got to Arkansas on Sunday. 12-3 was the final on that one. Arkansas's bullpen just fell apart there in the late innings and lost the final game of the series. But they do get 2 out of 3. So pretty good weekend for the SEC overall. You look at Ole Miss wins a top 3 series. UCLA comes to Nashville and Vanderbilt gets them. Auburn did not lose a game against Southern Cal. Mississippi State took 2 out of 3 from Arizona State. LSU won in Round Rock. Good weekend for the SEC. The league still looks pretty good, which would be no surprise to anyone. When we come back, LSU football. Had someone decide, I'm done. I'm going to go try playing the NFL. We'll tell you who next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green. This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
On Tuesday's OTB, I really hope we're celebrating a Pelicans win. Plus, LSU, Texas. We get you ready for the battle in Austin. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So news today out of LSU football, cornerback Sevyn Banks has decided that he's going to declare for the NFL draft, will not play any more college football. A little bit surprising based on where we are in the calendar, quite frankly. You just never got a feel for what Sevyn Banks had to contribute to LSU. He came to LSU from Ohio State, where he had suffered multiple injuries, had missed a lot of time. Would he recover from them and be the same player that he was projected to be when he's a top 50 player in the country coming out of high school? Who knows? He comes to LSU and he's working, and then all of a sudden he gets in that scary collision on the kickoff against Auburn. Obviously never plays again for LSU. Thought, okay, admirable. He wants to come back and give it one more go in college football. But just decided maybe against that. I don't have any inside information here. Certainly haven't read anything. This is pretty new, but maybe this is a situation where Sevyn Banks says, look, my body's about to give out here. I may have a chance to make this if I give it one healthy go. Let's try. I don't need to subject my body to 12 more months of college football when it may not hold up for that. So I don't know how draftable he is. Certainly, if you look at his measurables and what he was coming out of high school, that projects to the NFL. 4 years and that many injuries after it, hard to tell. certainly pulling for him. Hope it works out, but you feel like his body's just kind of betrayed him at this point. So how does it leave LSU, and where are they as far as cornerback goes? Well, you got Denver Harris, you got Zy Alexander, you got J.K. Johnson, you got Deuce Chestnut. That's your transfer portal class that you brought in. LaTerrence Welsh is back. You bring in Javian Tobiano, who's an early enrollee. Ashton Stamps, who's an athlete you've brought in. Jeremiah Hughes. And kind of that's what it looks like at this point. I think with Harris, Chestnut, Johnson, that looks pretty solid. And Alexander's going to be a wild card. He might be a guy that comes in and was just in the wrong level of football and fits right in. But I think a lot of people are going to pivot and look at Colby Richardson and say, hey, that's a guy with some measurables who played really well at his level. Did it transfer to an elite level at LSU? It did not. Did he help LSU? Yeah, he was out there and gave him the best he could. But I think you realize there were some better options for LSU last year. We'll see. Maybe Zy Alexander's ready to roll. Maybe he's not. But your numbers still aren't terrible. Harris, Alexander, Johnson, Chestnut, Welsh, Tobiano. That's 6 guys at the outside corner spot that you feel pretty good about. Where does Greg Brooks fit in? Where does Sage Ryan fit in? Those are all nickel pieces you can play with, nickel, dime, safety, wherever you want to do it. But as far as outside corners go, that's where it looks like. And I think that's okay. I think Denver Harris has a chance to be a real number one. I think Deuce Chestnut is a proven college football commodity. I think J.K. Johnson has the pedigree to help you for sure. And then you hope that Javian Tobiano is the player that most high school recruiting analysts believe him to be. At that point, you're okay. Now, you don't want to take on a couple more injuries because then things get a little dicey. But again, you do have some guys back with Major Burns and Sage Ryan and Greg Brooks. And you've got some guys that I'm not mentioning at outside corner that can help you in the secondary. But if you want to keep everybody where they're supposed to be, that's where you would start. It's been an interesting run at cornerback since Brian Kelly took over. Because obviously you remember that Eli Ricks and Dwight McGlothern left. So you're left with like nothing. So you go grab all these guys to fill out the first roster of the Brian Kelly area, but you know they're all going to leave at this point a year from now, which is now where we are. And they did. Some had to. Some chose to. Gerard Bernard Converse, Brakai Gardner. You know the list at this point. So it had to be overhauled once again. At this point, you can expect Denver Harris on the 2024 LSU team. You can expect LaTerrence Welsh and Javian Tobiano and Ashton Stamps and Jeremiah Hughes to be on the 2024 LSU team. There's a little bit more stability in the numbers as opposed to just plug and get out and go plug all the new older guys in. Now, you may lose Deuce Chestnut. J.K. Johnson's got options. So Alexander's old. So we'll see. In this day and age, anybody can transfer anywhere. Just get a waiver, make sure it's your first time. So nothing's guaranteed, and that's what makes this a little bit more difficult to project towards. But I think, like I said, when you look at this year, this team, this position group, I think LSU is okay on numbers. Sevyn Banks was just going to be difficult to project as a full-time, high-level contributor because he just has not been on the field in years. Literally. Just hasn't. And that's just a tough break for Sevyn Banks, who by all accounts is a great kid, and I'm thrilled that he was able to bounce back from that neck injury and feels able to continue his football career. We'll see what that journey looks like. It's probably going to be a tough one, but he's made that decision that he is going to move on. He is going to test the NFL water. So we wish Sevyn Banks all the best. And Tigers just a couple weeks out from starting spring football practice, and we'll have you covered wall to wall here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Our Citizens Bank poll question of the day. We'll get to that coming up in the final segment. That's about the pitch clock. Got some Brandon Miller thoughts on what his pregame walkout was on Saturday. If you missed that, Might want to give it a look before we talk about it in the next segment. We got plenty to get to on this edition of Take It or Leave It. We'll do that to finish things up here on a Monday. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford, BayouFord.com is where you can find all of the inventory. They've got it on the lot there at Bayou Ford. You can find it on the website. That, of course, is BayouFord.com. The entire inventory is right there. Maybe you're in the market for an F-150. Maybe it's a Mustang that you're looking for. Maybe an Explorer, an Expedition. They got you covered over at Bayou Ford. If they don't have exactly what you want, let them customize a vehicle for you. That's the new era of car buying. Tell them what you want. They get it customized. It shows up in 60 to 90 days, and they've got 6 full-time drivers on staff that are ready to take that vehicle and all the paperwork and drive it right to your front door. It's the Bayou to You guarantee. And every new purchase comes with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty over there at Bayou Ford. So for the life of your Ford vehicle, you will have it under that warranty. BayouFord.com is the website. Again, it's BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, where they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
What the? Is that a skag? You've got to be kidding me. Look at those stripes. Oh, and that comfy seat. It's like he's riding on a cloud. We get it, Gary. Your stripes look perfect.
The moment you know you want a skag. Skag. Simply the best.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Women who suffer from cardiac arrest outside of a hospital are less likely than men to receive life-saving CPR from bystanders. This is especially true for Black and Latino women. Be the one in your family to help change this statistic by taking the American Heart Association's challenge to learn CPR. Be the beat for someone you love. You can make a difference when it matters most. Go to heart.org today to take the CPR challenge and save lives.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place.
Hannigruff, join us for the Tuesday edition of Handy Time. We'll go to Austin, Texas, get a preview on the Tigers and the Longhorns. Plus, Dwayne Colucci joins us from Las Vegas. Handy Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, excited for tomorrow's show. As I mentioned, we will head over to Austin, Texas, get a preview of LSU and Texas' 6:30 first pitch from Dish Falk Field over there in Longhorn Country. Big one for LSU. We assume Thatcher Hurd will be on the mound. Get you ready for that one. What else do we have on Tuesdays? We have Glenn West. We'll talk with him. Sharif Ishak on the Pels, who are on the hardwood tonight. So plenty to get to on tomorrow's show. Let's do some take it or leave it, Taylor Sharp.
Yeah, let's knock it out. Max Scherzer says he loves the new MLB rules, saying the pitchers have the power of pace of play. Take it or leave it.
I would take that. Obviously, there's a part of the game where you disrupt a guy's timing with visits from the coaching staff or stepping out, calling time, and none of that's going to be allowed. So, yeah, if you're Max and you work fast anyway and you work off intimidation, you want to just continue to make things tough on guys, yeah, I think that there's absolutely something to that.
The Chicago Bears are now reportedly leaning towards trading the top pick. The Bears should move back in the draft. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I understand. It depends on what the haul is. I mean, if they're going to give you 3 future first round picks and a second this year, like, yeah, of course you want to do that. I don't know what the haul is, but there's some pretty good players. Jalen Carter and Will Anderson are pretty good. I would strongly consider selecting one of them now. If you feel like you can move back to 2, 3, or 4 and still get one of them because everybody's going to run up and try to get a quarterback, you can play the draft that way. There are a lot of options there. That is without question to me far more interesting to me than what quarterbacks fall where, because I don't really care about any of these quarterbacks right now, is what do the Bears do with the pick? Because so often teams that are in that situation don't have a quarterback. The Bears think they do, so it makes them in a situation that we just haven't seen a lot of over the years. So I'm fascinated to see what they'll do.
Brandon Miller's pregame intro. Take it or leave it.
Got to leave that one. If you missed it, you understand that Brandon Miller is in some hot water right now because of his involvement in an incident that resulted in the murder of a young woman. He had the gun in his car, drove the car to the scene. I think everyone kind of understands what the story is now. And he comes out of the starting lineup line on Saturday and gets patted down by a teammate. Now, it came to my attention they've been doing this all year long, and that's fine because it's something that people do from time to time, whatever. You got to stop. You have to stop doing that when this happens, period. It's just so tasteless, and my opinion is that Brandon Miller and his teammates didn't think anything of it when this happens. He's 18 or 19. He's just a kid having some fun playing basketball, and this is just what they've been doing since the first game. I don't think he's doing it to mock the death of a woman. I don't think he's doing it to mock the police department or the NCAA or to take a shot at fans who are booing him and want him out of it. I think he just doesn't get it. That's my sincere guess. A young kid doing something really dumb. Hopefully, somebody at Alabama gets to them and says, "Hey, no more patting down in the line in the pregame lines. That's it." That's just very, very tone deaf.
Bryce Young will not throw at the NFL Combine despite the other top quarterbacks that will throw. Young will still be the first QB taken. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I know he's not big, and I know that people love Levis, and I think Stroud's going to be great, and whatever the deal is with Anthony Richardson, people can talk about that all day. But I would take Bryce Young. I've been so pro Bryce Young this entire thing. It does give me a little bit of joy that the best quarterback in the history of Alabama football did not win a national championship. That is just a small consolation prize for a guy that was really, really good over 3 seasons in Tuscaloosa. He was tough to deal with, and I would take him first. But I think that there's a fraction of the league. It's like, hey, this guy's too small, and he's going to get hurt, and we can't take him. There's a lot of quarterbacks that aren't 6'6", 245 pounds with a rocket arm anymore. It's a little bit of a different game. I would take Bryce Young all day.
The Murdaugh Murders on Netflix. Take it or leave it.
I will take it. I think there's probably a pretty sizable portion of our audience that has paid attention to this, that has seen it on Netflix, that has seen that it's an ongoing trial in South Carolina right now. If you have not seen the Murdaugh Murders on Netflix, or I think it's on HBO Max as well, 2 different deals. If you haven't seen this and you're looking for something to kill 2 hours of your time, I strongly would recommend checking it out. It is a fascinating case and tragic case of a family in South Carolina that had a century-long lineage in this town, and it's all just fallen apart. It's resulted in many deaths, and it's now kind of coming to a head in a trial that's ongoing. So you don't have the resolution of everything, but it was a fascinating watch on Netflix. My wife and I put it on yesterday, late evening, and after I kind of watched the baseball game, got dinner done, put the kid to bed, everything, and we put it on, and we were going to just watch one of them. We ended up mowing through all three because it is just a wild story of the Murdaugh family over in South Carolina. So if you're looking for something to kill some time, I would highly, highly recommend. I will take that for sure.
All right, Hunt, last one, and just brace yourself for this one.
Oh, great.
Former Cubs catcher Wilson Contreras,
I saw this.
now a St. Louis Cardinal, said over the weekend that St. Louis is a much better organization. Take it or leave it. I'm interested to see where you go on this.
This hurt me to my core. The Cubs that won the title, Contreras, Rizzo, Baez, Bryant, Schwarber, Hayward, Fowler, Lester, Hendricks, those are my guys. Like, they came up, whether it was in 14, 15, or 16, they were highly thought of prospects. They got hot. They had a great run in 15. They won it in 16. And then over the next 3-4 years, they were the nucleus of the team that won a ton of games and gave me a lot of joy and some fun playoff times. Like, those guys, even though they're all gone, I still just adore because they did what they did in Chicago. Wilson needs to cool it or he's going to make me mad. I understand signing with St. Louis because they gave you the most money. But you don't have to say stuff like that. Wilson, we're going to have reunions of this World Series team. We're going to have you come back and throw out first pitches, and you're a Cub forever because of what you helped do in your first year in the big leagues. I know it didn't end so great because they didn't offer you the contracts you wanted, the money you wanted, and they kind of held you hostage at the trade deadline through the qualifying offer. And, like, I got that things did not end great, and you can be ticked at the Ricketts and Jed and all the front office, but don't alienate an entire fan base when you don't have to do it. Just say, I'm thrilled to be a Cardinal. It's a wonderful place. I can't wait to get to work with my guys. Don't slam the Cubs at every turn. You don't have to do that. Did I answer the question? No, I did not. I will leave it being a much better organization. The Cardinals are the nerdiest organization in the sport. The Cardinal way. We invented baseball. We do it like this. Shut up. I don't like the Cardinals at all. Wilson, I'm not going to pull against you, except when you're, I don't want the team to win, but I want good things for you. It's the same way I felt about Dexter Fowler when he left us and ended up signing with the Cardinals. Nothing ever came of that. Still love Dex, even though he wore the wrong colors for a few years. Wilson's going to be there for a long time, and I'm not going to harbor any ill will, but you got to keep your mouth shut when it comes to talking about the Cubs. Just say how great it is to be in St. Louis. We're on the same page here. It's the just nastiness of pro sports where darlings can go from one place to a rival immediately, like Johnny Damon going from the Red Sox to the Yankees and Roger Clemens doing the same thing. And it's like, that just didn't used to happen in college sports. Now I guess it could. It seems unlikely that a star at a place would leave for a rival.
Elias Ricks.
It can happen, but
I'm sorry I brought that up.
I'm sad.
Yeah,
this whole thing is very bad. Very sad. You know what's good about the transfer portal? Joe Burrow's good about the transfer portal. Did you hear that? He transferred from Ohio State to LSU. It was very good. Love the transfer portal. Great place to be, transfer portal. That'll do it for a Tuesday. No, not Tuesday. It's Monday. Sorry there. Just sped you up a day. For a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Let's look at our Citizens Bank and Trust poll question of the day. It was about the pitch clock here and kind of an overarching view of how people feel about the pitch clock that has made its way to professional baseball and has caused some waves in spring training. The question was, how do you feel about the new pitch clock? Hate it, love it, or I'll get used to it. That's the camp I put myself in, that I'll get used to it. In last place, love it. Only 22% love the pitch clock, which surprises me. I feel like people want the game to go fast. I don't know. Hate it is in second with 36%. And I'll get used to it. In the camp that I'm in, won the poll with 42% of the vote. So it's here to stay. So we can go ahead and get used to it, I guess. That's just the way that it's going to be. Missed any of the show today? You can always catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand page. All the shows are archived there each and every day. You can also go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Anywhere you catch your sound or your video, you can catch the Hunt Palmer Show and all our shows here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I spent 30 minutes opening the show talking about the weekend that was in Round Rock with the Fighting Tiger baseball squad as they get 2 of 3 and capture the title. They won a belt of some sort. You want to hear my thoughts on the baseball weekend, you can go to the first 30 minutes of the show. Then talk about LSU basketball against Ole Miss over the weekend on Saturday. Disappointing loss for the Tigers. Then I gave my thoughts on the pitch clock at the end of hour number 1. Hour number 2, SEC hoops talk. Then some SEC baseball talk. Tony Vitello back in action with Tennessee, as is Maui Ahuna. And then we talked about Sevyn Banks and his leaving for the NFL draft and what that leaves LSU with as far as the secondary goes. So catch all of that on demand. Jimmy Ott's Game Time tonight, 6 to 8. It'll be Jimmy and Charlie. Matt is back from vacay, so he's going to drive you home coming up next on After Further Review. We'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow, getting you ready for LSU and Texas. It's the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.